Good day to everyone, and once again, welcome to our subject Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics. Just an overview, UCSP is an Araling Panlipunan subject for senior high school students. We have the Quarter 1 Module 1 entitled Nature, Goals, and Perspective of Anthropology, Sociology, and Political Science. To those who are not yet familiar with me, I'm Sir Joven L. Dasalia and I will be your teacher for the said course. Now, I've already posted the classroom decorum in our group page and also you can find there the grading system for the said course. For this module, you are expected to learn from the three lessons, namely anthropology, sociology, and political science. Please be guided with your student's guide in page 4 of your module. After going through this module, you as a learner is expected to articulate observations on human cultural variation, social differences, social change, and political identities. Explore the origins and dynamics of culture and society and political identities. Identify the subjects of inquiry and goals of anthropology and sociology. Explain the present human biological diversity. And the most essential learning competency, discuss the nature, goals, and perspectives in and of anthropology, sociology, and political science. The red in color here are actually competencies which are aligned in our vision and mission statement of our school. So you are expected to comprehend that man is definitely created by God in his own image. Understand that the basis of good government and political stability is personal integrity and strong family life. And lastly, believe that each is to live as unto God and respect others. We are done with our pre-assessment last time, and the result of it is actually the basis for me where to start from our lesson. So I know you are ready for the first lesson of this module. God bless you all, and hopefully you will enjoy our lesson. Lesson 1 talks about anthropology. Every one of us is unique as who we are, and that means in various ways we are different from one another. So people are really different to one another with our backgrounds, with our beliefs, with the traditions that we have. We tend to survive with the help of other people. We group ourselves accordingly with our interests or maybe with the backgrounds that we have. And that makes sense of how we individuals are unique to one another. We all know that the world is very complex and is a dynamic environment. And that means we cannot say that every human patterns in our society is actually the same. The patterns of human society is actually differ from place to place, time to time, across the culture, across each culture, I mean. So, in this module, you are going to articulate observations on human cultural variation, social differences, social changes, and other identities. So, as a human being, you need to design a life of a person based from social, cultural, and political context, and that you need to appreciate the activity by describing a successful person. I know we are done with activity 1, or to those who are not yet done with this, kindly listen or if you don't have your internet connection with you, you can read and analyze the song in page 7 and 8, and after which answer the question that follows. The link is provided on page 8 and also in our LMS, it's actually there. Be guided with the questions and please answer the 3 questions there. The first one is, what is the general idea of the song? How can you relate yourself to the circumstance of the song? And lastly, how does it ignite your personality? Maybe there are those who are confused with the term ignite. That means, kumbaga, nag-ala ba ang iyong personality, or shall I say, napukaw ba ang iyong damdamin with the song? So that's actually activity number 1, and thank you for those who responded earlier because supposed to be it must be done last meeting. Let's proceed. I have here a picture and basic question. What is the picture all about? What is a significant idea that it conveys? Does it something or that it does it show something about man and society, their relationship? Or can we say that in the early form of arts, there is that social interaction or social experiences that we can show from the picture? Now, we will be talking about anthropology. So, anthropology, as stated here, is a subject which is very important in seeking answers about man's existence and his social experiences. Just a sort of trivia, anthropology comes from the Greek word anthropos, which means man or humankind, and the logy, which means study. So meaning anthropology is actually the study of man or humankind. Now, anthropology in your module is the branch of knowledge which deals with the scientific study of man, his works, his body, his behavior, and values in time and space. And that's according to Palispis in 2007 in page 6 of his book. So that means because it's a branch of knowledge, meaning it's a study which deals specifically with human or with man, the works, his body, and everything about him or her. Now, also, it includes his physical, social, and cultural development that describes and explains the phenomenon of human life. That means everything about human, may it be physical, social, and cultural progresses or development, accordingly, is actually it talks about, or shall I say, it points out with the study of man, which is anthropology. With the help of anthropology or studying anthropology, it will actually provide insight and understanding for us on the things that are really strange, which actually historians and sociologists are also found it difficult to comprehend and explain. I am referring with these strange aspects as enumerated in your module, the conflicts and violence, and other related issues pertaining to our society nowadays. Hence, anthropology gives information concerning man's behavior in relation to his social environment, and that with the help of anthropology, we can easily understand the relationship of that event to human existence, as it gives information on, or shall I say, as it gives more clarification and information with what really the purpose or the reason why an event happened. Anthropologists are the one who studied anthropology. Anthropology is also the study of what makes us human. There is that we called holism, and that's how anthropologists take a broad approach to understand the different or many different aspects of human experience. So they consider the events from the past through archaeology, which is actually studying the remains and other artifacts from the past by excavating or digging places to come up with evidences from the past, or somehow to see how human groups lived even before how many years ago. So they also consider what makes up our biological bodies and genetics, as well as our bones, diet, and health. And anthropologists also compare humans with other animals, just to see the commonalities or similarities with them, and that makes us unique. So there are also reasons why all humans need the same things to survive, like foods, water, and etc. And that the way people meet their needs can be very different. And that actually, with the help of anthropology, we can really understand those things. There is what we so-called cultural variation, and it refers to the differences in social behaviors that different cultures exhibit around the world. Whatever is good for one culture may be considered bad one or a taboo one for other cultures. For example, in marriage, here in our country, we are only allowed to marry one person, and that is our practice. While in other countries, they can marry two individuals at a time because that is their culture. And that means whatever culture an individual has, maybe they can consider other culture a bad one or it is not acceptable for them and vice versa. So there are many differences between the various cultures across the planet. This may be on how people interact with one another and on how they wear their dress or how they eat. So differences in culture can be explained actually by the environment or the resources of that place. Another example of cultural variation is the issue of same-sex marriage. The practice of same-sex marriage in other countries or in other cultures is actually accepted and therefore it is legal. Here in our country, good thing that it's not yet legalized and we should be praying that it must not be legalized anymore. Because as Christians, we do believe that same-sex marriage is a sin and it's an immoral act. So therefore, we must not promote same-sex marriage in our country or in our community. In the same way, anthropology is the comprehensive study of human development, culture, and change throughout the world, the past and its present. The comprehensiveness of anthropology stems from its emphasis on context, reflected in the perspectives offered by the discipline's four fields. So here are the fields of the anthropology. The first one is biological anthropology. Second one is cultural anthropology. The third one is linguistics anthropology. And the fourth one is archaeology. So let's talk one by one on these fields of anthropology. The first field of anthropology is biological anthropology. Now, when we said biological anthropology or physical anthropology, it's actually from the root word bio, which means life, and that means we will be talking about on the physical attribute of a human being. So it's stated here that biological or physical anthropologist, the person who studied biological anthropology, carried out a systematic study of non-cultural aspects of humans and near humans. So meaning their study focuses on the cultural aspect of human and near humans. So let's first differentiate non-cultural and near human aspect of human beings. The first one is non-cultural. It refers to all of those biological characteristics that are genetically inherited or in contrast to learned. Examples. When we said biological characteristics that we have, example is our genes or any other traits that we encompasses as human as we are. The next aspect is the near human, which is actually a category that includes monkeys, apes, and the other primates as well as our fossil ancestors. Now, when we said near humans, this is actually a group of maybe organisms that are nearly compared to human beings, such as the apes and monkeys or any other primates that is considered look alike with humans. Now, the primary interest of most biological anthropologists today is the human evolution. The proponent of this theory is Charles Darwin. And they want to learn how our ancestors changed through time to become what we are today. I don't think so if you are still believing in human evolution. If you are truly Christian, I don't think so if you are still believing in it. Tanong lang, naniniwala ka bang sa unggoy ka pa rin galing? Diba? Usually, that's the mindset of thinking if you are believing to human evolution. Anyways, let's proceed. Biological anthropologists also are interested in understanding the mechanisms of evolution and genetic inheritance, as well as human variation and adaptations to different environmental stresses, such as those found at high altitudes and environment that have temperature extremes. Now, the same way, because anthropologists in this field of study, in biological anthropology, they are actually trying to understand or try to give explanation on how the evolution took place and how the genetic inheritance of a human varies from one another and how it adapts the environmental changes or the environment as it changes. So such learning is actually given by the biological anthropologist. To sum up the first field, biological anthropology talks about the biological or the physical aspect of human being. The second field of anthropology is cultural anthropology, from the root word culture, and thus it talks about the socio-cultural aspect of the anthropology. So cultural or sociocultural anthropologists are interested in learning about cultural aspects of human societies all over the world. So it focuses mainly on how an organization or an individual took place or functions in his social environment, such as coming up with political organizations, the marriage patterns and kinship systems, the subsistence and economic patterns and religious beliefs of different societies. So it talks merely on how culture or how an individual affects his social and cultural environment. Most cultural anthropologists study contemporary societies rather than the ancient ones. The anthropologist in this cultural anthropology focuses more on the contemporary issues which are really happening every now and then. Again, cultural anthropology talks about the socio-cultural aspect of a human individual. The third field of anthropology is linguistic anthropology. When you said linguistic, it's actually talks about the language. Linguistic anthropologists study the human communication process. Mainly, the anthropologist of the linguistic focuses their learning or experimentation or research on the process of communication, such as how to understand a phenomena on how speech or words are being formed, how they are being pronounced, or maybe its function in the language. Also, they focuses on the social and cultural influence of speech and writing. Remember, when we said linguistic or language, it's not merely on the speech, but also in writing as well. The same true with nonverbal communication and how languages developed over time and how they differ from each other. So remember, our anthropologist in this field focuses mainly on the communication processes in the language. Such example of study is the syntax, the etymology of the word or where it came from, and any other related to language. Or another one is the pronunciation of the word. So those are examples of how anthropologists, or shall I say, the focus of the anthropologist in this field, the linguistic anthropology. The fourth field of anthropology is archaeology. So the one who studied archaeology are called archaeologists. Archaeologists are interested in recovering the prehistoric and early history of societies and their cultures. So mainly, our archaeologists focuses their study on the remains or artifacts that are being buried, and that they are researching on the prehistoric evidences that our early history has. Now, they actually systematically uncover evidences by excavating or digging into some areas where artifacts are being identified to be considered as one of the evidences in our prehistoric world. Another example is they are analyzing the materials of the remains left by the people in our past. So the same thing, archaeologists are essential detectives who search through many thousands of pieces of fragmentary parts and other artifacts, as well as environmental data, in order to reconstruct ancient lifeways. So in some sense, our archaeologists are actually doing some research or doing research, and that they want to prove to us that there are existing societies even before. In a sense, this makes archaeology the cultural anthropology of the past. Archaeology is also related to biological anthropology in its use of the same methods in excavating and or digging some sites to analyze human skeletal remains or remnants of the past societies that we have. So that's actually archaeology. Just a sort of review. In this lesson, we talk about anthropology. So anthropology comes from the Greek word anthropos, which means human or man, and that combined with logy, which means study, and that anthropology is the study of human or humankind. Anthropologists are the ones who study anthropology, and it's how, or shall I say, it's the study of what makes us human. So there is this what we so-called cultural variation, and it's the difference in social behavior that different cultures exhibit around the world. There are 4 fields of anthropology, namely biological anthropology, cultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and archaeology. For our biblical integration, let's watch this video clip.
Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. Apologetics seeks to give credible answers to curious questions, to give a defense. What is anthropology? Anthropology is the study of man. The Greek word anthropos, man. So anthropology is the study of man, or the study of mankind. And a Christian perspective, when we study mankind, we'll learn that man and women are created by God. We are equally created by God. We're different, not the same. We're ontologically valued the same. We're one in essence, but we're different functionally. That is to say, we each have different functions. We're to complement one another. And so man, in the study of man, will learn that he's created in God's image, so that man is a rational creature. He's a relational creature. He emotes. He has volition, that mankind has sunk into a fall, and we learn about that fall in Genesis chapter 3, that man is in need of redemption, that we're created for a purpose, that God has called us to be stewards of a purpose. Not only that, we're called to be stewards over His creation, that He created us to steward this universe that we're to live in. And so when you study anthropology, it will bring you into lots of different discussion about the nature of man, about the way a man relates to a woman, about the purpose of man, about how he stewards creation, and his ultimate purpose to glorify God and to be in relationship with God.
Here's a personal reflection after watching the movie clip. What is the video all about? What is anthropology in Christian perspective? And how do we study anthropology in Christian point of view? God bless you everyone, and see you in our next lesson.